Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On today's video, we're going to get the piglets out, get them trained on electric, and also have them do some garden prep for us. So we're going to try to do some function stacking here. So come along, let me show you what we're trying to do. So for about 3 weeks now, I've had these little suckers, 11 red wattle piglets, in our greenhouse here because A, I wanted to quarantine them, B, I wanted them to establish this as home because they weren't born on this farm, of course. So I wanted them to establish a centralized location where they get feed, where they get water, where they get shelter. So that's been established. And also, I want to plant this year. We've never planted anything in it. And so they're in here doing a great job, tearing up the ground, the compacted ground, and really turning it over. So before I release them on our hillside woodlot here closest to the house is up there, I've got to get them trained to electric. I don't know, I'm pretty certain they don't have any electric experience from the previous farm. So we're going to get them trained on that. So I need to make a training corral. And also, the benefit of this is the training corral, I'm going to make it right where we normally plant potatoes in the spring. So it's a nice section here that we can get them to till it up. They'll still have access to the greenhouse for shelter. And they'll get trained on electric. You can see what the sows did here at farrowing time and how much they kind of really ran this ground down and turned it up. And I use this to plant in during garden season. So I have this makeshift corral here, and the plan is to move this. I'm going to take these cattle panels down and move them to the other side. And let me show you what we've got there. So on this side, this would be the east side of the greenhouse. We have this small area here that I've planted potatoes before. I think we've planted, I don't think what else. We planted something else. I don't remember. But we've been slowly amending the soil. Back 22 years ago, there was an RV that sat here that somebody added on to and just piled mountains and mountains of garbage around it. So over the years, we've picked up most of the garbage, but I have a feeling the pigs are going to unearth some more for us. But the idea is we've had the chickens here at different times. We just kind of keep rotating things through, so the soil keeps getting amended more and more. And I think we can really have a good potato harvest this year. And this is a decent stretch. I know this GoPro does a horrible job. That looks like that's miles away, but that's only, well, if I had to guess, that's probably 40 yards, if that. But we'll just make a simple rectangle here with the cattle panels and be able to open that door, let them come and go. So still use shelter and be able to come out here and till this up. And I think they're going to do a fantastic job of just churning all this up. There's some old, well, there's some creeping Charlie, which pigs absolutely love creeping Charlie. Some plantain and some other grasses and things. And I'm sure there's going to be some garbage. And I believe there's a rogue potato or two because we didn't get them all. So the first thing I want to do is take down the old cattle panels and move them over. And I'm also using a new Energizer. I decided to try a new company. I'm not sponsored by them, but I want to try a new company because they offer a 9-joule Energizer. And the biggest I have is a 4-joule. So I've got it here in the box. We'll unveil that here later in the video. But I'm really hoping that 9-joule will, yeah. Well, I'm really happy with how that turned out. I think that came together well. If you've noticed on the videos that if they ever said, you know, that really turned out like crap, I really wish I'd never wasted the time to do that. I guess if I got to that point, I wouldn't make it a video, would I? So, anyway, so 9 cattle panels, 16-foot cattle panels. Yeah, those you keeping score at home. What, almost $25 a cattle panel now. So, yeah, that's what, 225 bucks if I'm doing my math right. But the good thing is I didn't buy these. I've had these accumulated. So, well, I did buy them at some point, but I've just been, I keep them in different spots, so I was able to grab all these. Now, when Kelly comes home and says, where's all my trellises for the garden? I'll be like, I don't know. Anyway, so 4 down each side, 1 across the back. So let you know it's 16 feet wide, right? Right. And what was my guess? I said 40 yards, didn't I? So 16 times 4 is 64 feet. So that's not 20. Oh, gracious. That's only 21 yards. Showed you what I know. I never played football. But here. Okay, so you may be wondering, well, Troy, why didn't you put a door in there? Why didn't you put a gate to get access? And to be honest with you, I wanted to. I was going back and forth on it, maybe down there at the end, maybe here at the front. And I thought, well, you know, this is going to come out so evenly. I hate to bust it up with a gate and go through all that kind of hassle and worry about the pigs getting out. And I thought, well, you know, I've got doors on both sides of the greenhouse here. So if I need to get in here for some reason, then I can just go in the back door and come through here. I'm going to still feed them and provide water for them inside. So I don't think I'm going to have to always come in here. But as far as the electric goes, I've decided, I put the T-posts in this way so I can put my clips on and have them stick out, and put the really long clips on so they'll clear the cattle panel and give me the ability to energize that. But more I think about that, I may not do that. I may just go with step-in posts. I need to get some more step-in posts anyway for a couple other projects later this year. I thought, well, maybe I just go around and step in, run my wire on the inside, and not even try to worry about running these through. Because the bad thing about those long insulators, they always break off. So I won't use them anywhere else, because anytime a deer hits a line, it's the first thing that snaps off of the long ones. The ones that are flush to the T-post can handle the angle of the deer better. But I need to get some more T-posts, so I'm going to pick back up once I've purchased some T-posts, and we'll line that out, and I'll show you the Energizer as well. All right, so here's the Energizer I'm going to try. This is a Power Wizard. I've never tried this brand before. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I paid for this with my own money. But I've heard several good sources cite them as a reputable company. This is a 9 joule, so this is much larger than any Energizer I've had. The Energizer I've been running for the south pasture, you probably can't see it, but it's right on the corner of the workshop right about here, is just a 4 joule. And it manages everything that you can basically see all the way up, all the way down to the corner of the trailer down there. So it does fine with that. So I'm going to be curious to see how a 9 joule will work on a 64 by 16 paddock. That's not exclusively where it's going to be working. Right now it will be, but if it does what I want it to, I'm going to actually have it run this north woodlot pasture and the boar pasture, because the boar pasture is just being run, I think, on a 1.5 joule, and it's doing okay. It obviously could be a little hotter, but let's get this thing hooked up and see what we can get from it. All right, so I just swapped them out just to see, because I tested the Patriot to see where we were, and since I cleaned up the fence and everything, I was getting, I think, just under 8 kilovolts here right at the front. And when I move over to the Power Wizard, I'm getting just over 8. So it's a little bit better. But I'm curious to see if I go up the line and test it all, then really see what we're getting all the way up. But anyway, point being, that's a whole nother issue. I know that fence is hot for the boars, because Mongo, he got a little close to it yesterday, and he scared the crap out of me because he hit it just as I was going over it. Anyway, so I'm going to take a lead from here. Actually, I'm just going to take it from this corner that goes up to the boar pasture, and we're just going to run it down and tie it into our corral down there, so we can get electricity on the inside perimeter. All right, so I've got the main lead wire back to my corner here, there where the tiller is. So it's coming through the fence, and now we just need to do our perimeter around. And I've debated back and forth whether to use insulators that clip on the T-posts or to go ahead and buy step-in posts. I can never have too many step-in posts. But these are, you know, I think $2.39 is what I paid at Rural King a couple days ago. And the clips are much cheaper. But the only issue I have is trying to get a clip to line up right where we have two cattle panels coming together on the post. So those have to clip in a certain spot. And of course, with those cattle panels in a way, that would be a problem. I don't know, I've never seen anything. I wonder if they make a insulator that clips onto a cattle panel, something that would be that small to clip and grip. That may be worth looking into. Something that would go across the crosshairs of where the cattle panel comes together and be a clip. All right, so now I've got it all roughed in with the wire going all the way around, and then it just stops here. I just have it tied off. And then just have the T-post tied here so it doesn't bend. Now I just have to go around and fine tune it and see where there's a couple places where it may be touching the cattle panel because I have the T-post too close, or the step-in post. I know right here, this is one spot, it's touching right here. I'm just going to pick this up. And move it out a little bit. I think I'm going to just put another step-in post there. Now for these corners, I just put the step-in post backwards because these little clips can break off pretty easily, especially with a pig slamming against them, testing them. So this will just give an opportunity for, even if the clip breaks, it's still going to hold the fence where we need to. So why the need for the physical barrier and the electric? Well, as I mentioned, this is for training. So the natural instinct of a pig is to go forward when they're spooked or whatever. So, or when they're, you know, something hits them, scares them, whatever, they go forward. So if you just had electric fence here to get them trained, they would hit that fence and go straight through it, usually because they're going to hit with their snout or their ears or their forehead, something like that, and they're going to jump through it. The cattle panel behind there stops them, so they're going to kind of bounce off of it and get hit again. And the whole point of that is the barrier teaches them, when they get hit by electric, to turn. So either back up, turn left, turn right, and that establishes that. So they're going to spend several weeks in here getting used to that. And then I could even come back and take the cattle panel down, and now that electric line becomes a psychological barrier. And depending on how effective they are and how smart this specific pig breed is, or this batch of pigs is, you could possibly even take the electric line down, and it would take them a while to figure out that it's gone, and because they remember it so well. So that's why we have this gap. This gap here produces enough so when they get hit, they kind of bounce into that and get hit again. All right, so I think it's time to put some power on this, give it a test at the end of the line here, and then if I like what I'm reading, then we'll loose the hounds. All right, 9 kilovolts is going to get your attention. So I think that's fair to say that's going to work. So let's let them out and see what happens. So did you see those first couple of shots? So they definitely, leapt forward, cattle panel came back, and then even when they got spooked, they ran down here to this back corner to try to, hey, how do we squeeze and get out of here? And hitting that wire, electric wire, bounce through, hit again, come back. And just in 4 or 5 hits, they're already starting to turn. So it's a very, very effective way to train the pigs. Get them to respect that wire so much they won't want to mess with it. And if you've got that really well established, then you can do like we do and have single strand wire all the way around your entire woodlot pasture and not have any worries about your pigs getting out, unless your fence is down, of course. But you can kind of see the ground we're dealing with here, a little bit of grass, not a lot of stuff grown in this time of year. But there's a lot of creeping Charlie, which pigs love. Like I said, there's probably some rogue potatoes down in here somewhere. Some roots still. So knowing that we've got 64 by 16, and we've got 11 piglets that are 8 to 9 weeks old, comment below and tell me how many days, weeks, or months you think it'll be before this place is devoid of any vegetation whatsoever. That every part of it's turned up. And we'll do a shout out whoever wins, because before this video is over, I'll show you how torn up it is, because I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. Okay, so it's actually, Kelly and I were out of town for 2 days, so it's actually day 8. And I would say that day 5, they had it torn up. But look here at day 8, just how sliced and diced this is. These guys have really done a good job. We had some rain the other night, which of course made the ground that much softer. Okay, this just looks incredible. They've done a wonderful job on it. I just wish I had my seed potatoes. I'd be ready to put them in the ground. So I uncovered a little bit of trash. No, that's a branch. All right. So for those of you who guessed, I'm going to say day 5 would be the winner. But it didn't take long at all for them to be able to really bust this up and clean it out. So the game plan will be, I'm going to leave them in here for a bit because I'm not quite ready to plant potatoes. It's still a little early, but we're going to open up this spot right here and get them on the hillside. And that hillside pasture goes up a ways. And I just need to get my fence dressed up, get it off the ground. I haven't used that pasture in a while. So we'll get them there, have a little opening here so they can come and go and still be able to access this spot, and of course the greenhouse to hang out. So there you go, kind of permaculture function stacking with piglets. Getting them trained to the electric fence while also getting my garden prepped so we can plant some potatoes. And keeps me from having to run that thing so much. So very, very nice opportunity there. Plus, they get all the benefit. They're looking really good. They're putting on the weight well. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. Y'all take care.